Welcome to the Michael Artsis Show. I'm Michael Artsis. Thanks so much for joining us. We've got a really great show for you today. So much going on. We got to talk a little bit about tech, high tech, and even low tech. There are still some more holiday things that we want to tell you about. Of course, we gave the holiday guide yesterday. That'll be up on YouTube later today. But also, we've got some other tech stuff, our regular tech stuff, and Mitch Unger will join us tomorrow from planet5d.com. That is the biggest, best, baddest blog for DSLR photographers and video makers as well. So we're really excited about that. Mitch is a good friend, and we'll have an awesome roundup of cameras, DSLRs, and all sorts of other great stuff. Now, I want to tell you, Go Glove has been doing amazing, and I want to thank you guys because obviously we had them on the other day, and you guys went nuts purchasing Go Gloves, so that's pretty awesome. I can't wait to get my latest pair because I've got those prototypes. Obviously, they'll come in June. Check out goglove.io for more if you want to get somebody a pair of Go Gloves for the holidays so you can operate your phone without taking it out of your pocket and keep your hands warm. Now, we've got a very special guest today via Skype. He is coming in from the West Coast. His name is Russ Howard III. He's a TV film composer, and he's done some amazing stuff, including video games, television, and movies, including the National Lampoon series. Russ, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Excited to be here with you.
It's great to have you on. It's great to have you. You know, it's sunny and warm where you are, snowing where we are. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's pretty nice here. I mean, you can't see all the way down, but if you could see, I have some Bermuda shorts on right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the beauty of TV is we never have to know what you're wearing from the waist down. But I am very jealous, and Bermuda shorts are pretty cool. Russ, you know, I think you do what's one of the hardest things in the world, to be honest with you. To me, it's easy to create a film. It's easy to shoot video. It's easy to do all this stuff, but it's really hard to do it really well, and especially when you talk about the music. And I think that the music really helps to paint the picture. So we have a video production company. We've done documentaries, all sorts of stuff. But the biggest thing I always tell clients when we do video production is we've got to use original music because music tells a story more than anything.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And, you know, if anyone ever wants proof of this, you can go on YouTube and find some really fun clips of like Star Wars without the score in there. And it almost becomes funny when you don't hear the music. And really, the music is the last bit of storytelling in the process. So you have, you know, someone writes the script, they shoot it, they edit it. But really, then the music is the final point where you have a chance to tell the story and really shape how people react to it.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. It tells you how to feel, what to feel, when to feel, and I think that it really is the most important part. Now, how does your process work? I mean, when we work with a composer to work on music, we have to we have to first tell them what we're trying to accomplish, and then kind of give them a storyboard. And then from there, as we're shooting, we send them kind of the look and the feel, especially some color-corrected shots, so that we can kind of give them what we're trying to go for. And we also tell them at each part of the scene what we're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the things you just mentioned are so important, especially the look of the shots, like a color-corrected shot where you really see what the colors are going to be really helps inspire what the mood is. And so I would say for the process, you know, I love getting a script and reading it and getting into what the story is, but even that is so different from what ends up on film, you know, after the actors bring their interpretation and the editor chops it up and brings their interpretation. So I love to see as much of the finished product as I can. I love to see the colors and the mood and the emotion of the film. And then I like to just, you know, see what is it that this is making me feel, and what maybe should I be feeling that I'm not feeling yet. And then I try to start approaching it like, how can I help out a scene? How can I bring the emotions that they want to convey? So that would be my process, I would say.
We're talking with Russ Howard III on the Michael Artsis Show. Russ is the composer, or a composer for television and film, and you also do video games. Tell me about the difference between composing for television and film and composing for video games.
Sure. So a recent video game that I got to work on was the Sims 3 game, and I did that with Steve Jablonsky, who's the composer for the Transformers movies. And so the process is very different in that with something like Sims, they would send us screenshots of like the different areas of the world and kind of give us just an idea of the feelings they were wanting to create. And so there was much less of writing to a picture or a story and more just like, here is a world and here's the feeling we want. Can you create that feeling for us?
Excellent. I think that that's so interesting. Now, you did The Sims 3. It's a very, very popular game for Electronic Arts. And obviously you've done a lot of other video games as well. Do you have a favorite video game that you've actually composed for?
Favorite video game that I got to write music for? I mean, I would have to say Sims would definitely be at the top for what I've written for. And then just as for personal enjoyment, I confess to being overly addicted to Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls series. And I love the music in that. Even though I didn't have part in it, I just kind of see that as kind of like a high point of the art of video game music.
You know, I think people don't even realize that video games are scored, you know, and I think it's so awesome to open their eyes to that because, you know, it's such a good part of the video game. And I think when music is working in television and film and even in video games, you don't realize the music is happening.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of like the, I want to say silent partner in the process, even though it's not silent. You don't always realize that you're being affected by something there, but you definitely miss it when it's gone.
Now you've done stuff with the National Lampoon series, and what I wanted to know is there a different set of responsibilities that come with that? Do you almost feel like a responsibility to live up to what's been done before?
That's a great question. So to kind of clarify my National Lampoon's work, that particular film, which has the greatest title on earth, it's The Beach Party at the Threshold of Hell. That was literally my very first feature film to work on, and it was an independent production that then National Lampoon's purchased to distribute through their company.
Okay, so it's a little different than going into the project with the National Lampoon's brand on it, but that's still cool to be part of that.
Yeah, you know, it was really fun. The film is, you know, really out there humor and really over the top violence and you know, dark humor. You know, I love that kind of stuff, so it was really exciting for me. And you know, I know for the filmmakers, it was very exciting to have a company like Lampoon's be very interested in putting it out for them.
Very cool. All right, I got to ask you this question. You grew up in the Pacific Northwest, right? You're an Oregon guy.
Yep.
You're a Ducks fan?
I went to U of O for a time, so if I say no, I would probably get stoned when I go home. So yes, Ducks fan.
Do you like those uniforms? What's going on with those uniforms?
Can I say no comment?
Okay, yeah, you can, because I know that like you said, you'll be stoned. Here's the question. You know, most people they think to get into Hollywood, you have to be born into Hollywood. Clearly, you weren't born into Hollywood or even near Hollywood. You were born in Oregon. Yeah. And so how did you get in, and how do you get in, especially in music composing?
Man, that is $1 million question, but thanks for asking. So, you know, growing up in Oregon, to me, the Pacific Northwest is just like a magical place in my mind that really brings out creativity in people. So I grew up in a very creative environment. All my friends did music. My family was very into music. And I think, just I wanted to take that extra step and make music my career. So, I went to music school in Boston at the Berklee College of Music. And then I came out to LA, fresh off the boat and tried to jump in. And it was very challenging. And it took a few years before I could kind of get my toe in the door. And I just started working for other established composers for a while and kind of just kept working up the chain, working for more and more famous people until finally I worked with the composer Michael Dana, who recently got the Oscar for the Life of Pi movie.
Wow.
And so I worked for him for about a year, and just it was such an amazing opportunity to see someone working at that level and just to be able to kind of peer over their shoulder and see what they're doing. And at the same time, I was, scoring my own indie films, and my studio was, next door to his. And so I could just kind of go over and say, hey, Michael, do you mind looking at this music I'm writing for the scene and giving me your opinion? And he would come in and, just kind of give his input on what was working and what wasn't. And that, that for me was kind of the best school that there was, is to just be working around people at that level who could kind of give me feedback in a very, nurturing and encouraging way.
Are composers a lot like artists, where when they get to a certain level, they have, I would say, understudies working with them to create the art under their name, or when they get a big project, they say, okay, you do these few scenes, or can help me with this, because you say, as you were saying, you were working with him as he's doing bigger projects, and that really helped and kind of boosted your career as well. But were you like an understudy, creating some of that under his banner?
Well, yeah, no, that's a great question. And I would say that every composer in town kind of has their own process. But once you reach a certain level, the workload is just so big that you can't do it without a team. And I'm not talking about necessarily other people writing the music for you, but there's just a lot of little steps in getting the music produced that someone would need help with, that they could kind of offload onto somebody. And so, for instance, and just tell me if I'm getting too technical here, but Michael, let's say, would write all the music, and then he would give me what's called a MIDI file, and that's just kind of all the notes computerized. And then a big part of my job was to go through that and get it prepared for the orchestrator, who would get it ready for the orchestra. And so I would be taking these files and cleaning them up so there was no confusion about what they were. Or, sometimes he would say, like, here's an idea that I wrote. Can you flesh this out for me? And, like, add like a little synth thing here. Just little things like that.
You're definitely not getting too technical. We love behind the scenes. Our audience loves it, so it's terrific. I guess it seems to me like what you're talking about is you're basically, if you were building a website together, you're basically going through the lines of code and making sure everything straight makes sense and is clear to everybody in all, obviously there are little like colloquialisms, right, for different people, and little different slang for different people. So you're kind of making sure that everybody's talking the same language and everything makes sense in everybody's language.
Yeah, for sure. And then another thing you'll see, I worked for a time over at Hans Zimmer's studios, and he definitely is kind of known for almost a factory type system almost. And so the way some composers will work is they will write out musical themes. Those are like melodies that we associate with certain characters or emotions. And then, he would write the theme and then maybe hand it over to one of his other guys and say, okay, here is the, such and such theme. I want you to take this, and in every scene that this happens, I want you to massage it to what's going on in the scene. And that's a way that a lot of guys work, so that they're still writing everything that's happening, but other people kind of come in and be professional music massagers and just kind of make it work to what's going on on picture.
All right, we're talking with Russ Howard III. Russ is a composer for film, television, video games, a whole lot more. He's really phenomenal at what he does. I've got a couple of questions for you from viewers, and I want to get to that in just a minute. I have one more for
Sure.
you before we get to that, and then we'll get to talk about life a little bit as well. But thanks so much for joining us. You're amazing. You're out in California over Skype. I want to remind people they can tweet us questions at BeTerrificTV. That's our Twitter handle, and we'll ask those on air. And of course, we have other methods that you guys know about as well that we'll tell you about later if you're just joining us. All right. So Russ, do you have a favorite project that you have worked on or are working on?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of my all-time favorite projects that I got to be part of was the independent film Hobo with a Shotgun. Also another very colorful title. But that film was part of the Quentin Tarantino, Rob Rodriguez Grindhouse competition, like who could make the best Grindhouse trailer, and Hobo with the Shotgun was the winner of that. And so they made a film, it got into Sundance, and they kind of brought me in like at the very last week of the process, and they were just like, can you score these key scenes? And the movie, if you've seen it, is just so fun, so over the top, such great energy that it gave me a chance to get really crazy with the music. And then, we were able to, with the budget, to get an orchestra together for it. And so it was just a really fun week to just like watch the film, write some crazy music, and then record an orchestra at the end of the week. And so like it all happened, like I think I started working on it the day after Christmas, and then like I handed it in the day after New Year's. And it was like literally no sleep. I was like purely living off of Red Bulls and rock stars mixed together. And but that was really fun. That was still one of my favorite experiences.
And those are the best stories too. And I think it's not so much the work, the outcome of the work. It's the experience that you have that makes it fun and makes it one of your favorite stories. Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's not good. I'm just saying that it's really the experience you have around it. And I think what's so cool about that experience is, they say, hey, come in and score the key scenes. They didn't say score the credits, which would be, you'd be like, what? Or some other scene, that's not as important. Score the key scenes. That's really a great story. What are you working on now?
So right now, I just wrapped up a couple Christmas films, and so I was working on a Cookie Cutter Christmas for the Hallmark Channel, and I did another Christmas film called Paper Angels for Up TV. Both very different but very good Christmas movies.
Do you like working on Christmas movies? I would think that it'd be super cool to work on a Christmas movie because, especially something for like the Hallmark Channel, because we love doing stuff that's positive, and I think you could inspire people and uplift them, especially during the holidays when, the holidays can be really joyous, and also for some people they can be really hard, especially if they're alone.
Yeah, no, I personally love doing Christmas music. People ask me all the time, do you get tired of like hearing Christmas music? Because for me, I've done like about 6 Christmas movies now. Christmas normally starts around June or July is when I'll start scoring these films. And then, but, yeah.
When
So
I was a
Christmas in
journalist,
July.
we used to do Christmas in July celebrations. We used to cover them,
Yeah.
and they always seem so weird. Like you'd have some guy dress up as a Santa Claus, and he'd be on the beach or something. And so it's interesting you say that. Christmas in July seems like a real thing to me, though. And when I say that occasionally to people, like something will come up, I'll be like, "Hey, it's Christmas in July," and people think I'm bananas. But for you,
Yeah.
I mean, I could say that to you, and you'd get it.
Yes, no, it very literally is Christmas in July at my house. But it's really fun. It's really fun to, people want to hear music that sounds familiar. They want to hear those Christmas themes when they watch these movies. And so the fun for me is taking this common musical language that we all share, that is the Christmas carols, and then how do I make them fresh and new, and how do I make them dramatically interesting for a film? And I just really love that whole process.
It sounds completely awesome and a lot of fun. In fact, one of our viewer questions is, what is it like to have your music come to life and be able to hear that on playback when when you're at home and your movie comes on and you've scored it? What's that like for you?
Yeah, man, I would be lying if I didn't say that's kind of one of the most awesome feelings. Here, seeing what you worked so hard on and seeing it work to a scene, and then, when the audience response is great, or you see that, the TV ratings come in and you see that it was one of the most watched things on TV for that week. That's just a satisfying feeling, because even if the music is kind of affecting people on a subconscious level, knowing that I've subconsciously reached millions of people, that just feels really good.
I think it's got to. I mean, it really has to. Now, Johnny Gumo wants to know, what do you do musically for fun? Like when you're not actually working, do you jam with friends? Do you play? Or do you write some music that you're just doing for fun? What do you do for fun with music?
Yeah, that is a great question. I think that's so important with whatever your career is, to find a way to get out of the career headspace and just remember why you got into it in the first place, which is to have some fun. And so, yeah, I like to get together with some buddies sometimes, and we'll just jam on guitar, or, bang on some drums. Or, I grew up playing classical piano, so sometimes, at night I like to just bust out the Chopin and play through a few pieces before I go to bed, and that kind of, gets me out of the work headspace and back into, like, this is why I like music headspace.
Do you play? Do you do gigs like at all? Like even at a local bar? Do you play at all? Like
Uh,
publicly?
once upon a time, I used to play in some bands and have a lot of fun with that. I've kind of now, just I'm so busy writing that I just kind of am locked up in my studio doing that. So I don't go out and gig that much at all anymore.
And do you play? How many different instruments do you play and do you sing?
Well, I will say that I can sing on key and on pitch, but it might not be a pleasant experience for the listener, unfortunately. But yeah, so I grew up, my first instrument was piano, and I did piano lessons all through my childhood and teens and into college. And, when I was a teen, I wanted to be cooler with the ladies than piano was letting me. And so I picked up the guitar and got into that. And, my parents, this will like maybe date me a little bit for my age, but my parents were obsessed with Kenny G, if that takes you back. And so
He has
naturally,
talking about a holiday album. There's a holiday album.
yeah,
That guy's
yeah,
written there like 20 of them.
yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, so I did. Long story short, I did saxophone lessons, I did violin lessons, and a lot of those fell by the wayside as I got older. But I've always kind of stuck with piano and guitar, and so I have like a nice guitar collection and some basses and ukuleles and
Nice.
stuff like that.
Nice. Do you hear the music as you write it, or do you like do you kind of like hum it and then write it down, or how do you put it together?
Yeah, that's great. Great question. There's kind of like two processes I'll follow. Sometimes I will just sit and watch a scene, and I'll just kind of hit record on my phone and start like humming stuff. And sometimes the most interesting things will just come from stuff that my brain's throwing out. And then the other thing I like to do is just I'll sit at the piano and just improv to a scene until I feel like I'm capturing an emotion that I'm feeling. So, um, and I would say that's the most common way is I'll just kind of play around until I find something that makes me feel something. And once I feel like I'm feeling something, I know that a listener will probably also feel something. So I'm just kind of searching for that emotion,
You ever
and once I hit it, then I'm like, okay, let's go with this.
awesome? Do you ever get tired of watching the scene over and over again? Because I know when we edit, we get tired of watching scenes over and over again.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So funny story to get back with the hobo with the shotgun film. That movie had some of the most gory scenes I've ever seen in my life. And there was a scene, it was just so gory, like I couldn't really deal with watching it over and over again. And the screaming and the sound effects were really amazing and scary. So yeah, I just kind of like watched it a couple times. I'm like, okay, I just have to shut off the picture and the sound effects and, you know, write it from memory because it was just too much to keep watching it over and over again.
Awesome. That's a great story. I love it. What about Bill Lockwood wants to know, what about your studio? How's your studio set up, and what kind of gear do you have in there?
Sure. So I have a Mac computer that I keep in a closet just so I don't have to listen to it.
So that's
And
a tower. That's got to be like a G5 tower, or what? I guess it's actually a Mac Pro is what it
yeah,
would be.
Mac Pro Tower. And then I just have all the RAM maxed out and, all that fun stuff. And then, tell me if I'm getting too technical, but then, I like to have solid state drives just for the fast access to everything. And then it's a pretty simple setup after that. I mean, there's a lot of money that gets sunk into software that's on the computer, but other than that, there's a keyboard, and then I have some really nice speakers that I listen on, and then I have a couple screens, and then I have a piano right behind me, so I can just kind of turn and get some inspiration from the piano. And then I have like a wall of guitars. So that's kind of like that's my studio
Nice,
basically.
nice. What kind of piano is that? A Steinway?
Man, one day it'll be a Steinway. But I have like a really nice Baldwin upright grand piano. So it's an upright piano, but it's a bit taller than your average one. So it's has the same string length as like a baby grand piano.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, just playing a live piano and the resonance and the harmonics and all that stuff, as that like vibrates into my body, it's much more inspiring than playing even the best piano sounds on my computer. And so like I love to have the real instrument there just to feel it and get inspired, basically.
Nice. Awesome, awesome setup you have there. I like it. Thanks for taking us behind the scenes. What do you do for fun? What do you do just to relax and unplug?
Sure. So I love to do a couple martial arts. I go to a local Krav Maga um, place. That's the Israeli hand-to-hand combat martial art. Super fun, super aggressive. Really gets my adrenaline going. I kind of like so many people, I'm sitting in front of a computer all day, and I just kind of want to get as far away from that like sedentary, calm place into something kind of like really intense and crazy. So, I go and throw some punches, get punched a few times, and then I also really enjoy doing, the Brazilian jiu-jitsu, rolling around with some sweaty guys trying to choke each other. It doesn't get better than that, right?
Hey, you know what? I think your dream job might be scoring Fight Club, especially if you got to go down to the set. Fight Club
Yeah,
2.
yeah, that would be awesome.
What is your dream to like to score? If you could pick one project or one type of project, what would be your dream project?
Oh man, that is a great question. I think my ideal project would be to do, my favorite scores growing up were like Out of Africa, the John Barry sweeping romantic themes, and where the film gives lots of space for these beautiful melodies. And so I think my ideal project would be somewhere where something that gave me a lot of opportunity to get in there, write something beautiful and emotional, and just a chance to really make some statements. I feel like just as like the modern trend in film has been to kind of move away from that and to make music more and more minimal, which is fine and I understand it, but I kind of do miss those like really big sweeping melodies too.
Well, I think that you'll get your chance because everything comes around again, and we've
Yeah.
seen it even in the last few years with some of these films that win the Oscars being kind of throwback films, and obviously Woody Allen's still out there making these types of films, and like that Paris film he had a few years ago, I can't remember the name, but it was with Owen Wilson. I think
Sure.
that kind of film,
Midnight in Paris.
Midnight in Paris, thank you, would be an opportunity for this
Yeah.
kind of music, and look, I mean, it's something that there's an audience for. So I think that that's awesome, and I agree. Look, music tells the story. Why are we going to try and chop it down? It really, I don't think. Look, the visuals tell the story, the actors tell the story, but to me, there's nothing that tells you how to feel or what to feel in a scene more than the music. We talked about that before, and you
Yeah.
pointed out you made a great point to the Star Wars stuff you can find online without the soundtrack and how different it is. Russ, I really appreciate you joining us. I hope you're not a stranger and you come back often to talk about your projects and just about life in general. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. That's russhoward3.com, and this is Russ Howard III. I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be talking with you.
It's great talking to you. I'm Michael Artsis. This is the Michael Artsis Show. You know what? We got to pay the bills. Support our sponsors, please. We got to take a commercial break. We'll be back with a whole lot more show right after this. Thanks for watching. Welcome back to the Michael Artsis Show. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Michael Artsis. I think Russ Howard was a great guest. If you missed all or part of that interview, rather, you can certainly watch the show back when we put it up on YouTube. It'll go up probably tomorrow, and so will all our archives. The next day, you'll get the shows from the day before. So you can do that. You can go to youtube.com/BeTerrific, or you can just go to BeTerrific.com for all the stuff, and that's great. Again, we're going to be at CES in 2015. That's January 6th to 9th. We'll be broadcasting live from CES, so that's really exciting. Don't forget to hit us up on Twitter at BeTerrificTV. All your questions can pour in through that, and we'll have contests and all sorts of other stuff. And, of course, we've got the hashtag Cube on set, and you can hit our hashtag Cube with your pictures just by uploading your pictures to Instagram and putting in the hashtag BeTerrificTV stage. Look at that. We've got a picture of the Geek House there out in Texas from the Geeks at GeekBeat. Pretty cool stuff. All right. I wanted to talk a little tech now. I think that's perfect. And, before we do, I'll tell you Mitch Unger from Planet 5D will be joining us tomorrow. He'll be our guest. And we've got a solid lineup next week as well. So I'm really excited about that. I've always found, especially lately as you take more and more pictures on your mobile devices, that storing them is becoming more and more of a nightmare. And there are services like Mylio that are really awesome to store your pictures. We've been checking out Mylio, and that's pretty cool. But what I really want to do is store it in the cloud and not have to store it on my mobile device at all. It's good to have some kind of archive, like a hard drive or a backup, but I don't want to have a backup that is not in the cloud. And I don't want to store all these photos on my phone forever, or my tablet forever, or my computer forever, because it just takes up too much space. So there's a lot of services, like I said, Mylio. And, just today, Dropbox announced that they are coming out with their service called Carousel that's been available kind of in a beta test until now, from, basically about June till now. And Carousel seems awesome because it'll take your photos off of your phone and it'll allow them to just be in the cloud, and you can recall them from your Dropbox, from your Carousel account or your Dropbox account via Carousel at a moment's notice, right? As long as you have an internet connection. And there are a lot of other services doing that. iCloud kind of works that way, but there's kind of a tricky handshake with iCloud, whether you're deleting it from your phone and your other devices when you delete it from your phone. Carousel can delete them from your phone and keep them in the cloud and allow you to have them remain in the cloud. and you're able to access them. And Mylio works in a similar way, but currently, although it's supposed to be coming soon, there's no cloud for Mylio. And the cloud basically is servers, right? Let's just be honest. The cloud is servers that are data farms, whether they're Google's or they're Amazon's or whatever. Now, Dropbox and iCloud and all these other services require that you pay them a monthly fee, and as you store more photos, you need to pay them more, or more data in general. And it kind of gets a little cost prohibitive, right? Now you're like renting a storage locker for your junk, and you go back and you're like, what did I need all that for? But I like to be able to take photos freely, especially in the business we're in, and I think you do too. So I've been looking for a solution that's kind of like all in, right? And I don't know if this will last forever, but right now, if you're an Amazon Prime member, so I think that's $100 a year. It used to be $79. It's $100 a year. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you can store an unlimited amount of photos on your Amazon cloud, and you can download the app to an Android device, to a Kindle device, or to an iOS device, and you can store an unlimited amount of photos in the cloud, and they say they'll store them forever. So I've got the cloud drive from Amazon right here on my phone, and I've uploaded 15,000 photos so far, and I've got more to go. And you can organize it by date too, so that if I want to go to July, I can just pop up what photos I took in July, and I can go back to July of 2011. So I've uploaded all my pictures so far. I've actually got another 5,000 to go. So that'll be 20,000 total photos to go when I'm all said and done. And then you can do an auto save. So when I take a new photo, it'll automatically kick it up to the cloud. And it'll be able to share that with the other people in my Amazon family, right? So my wife can see those and put the app on her phone, and she can upload her pictures as well. And so can everybody else who's on that Amazon account. Now you can also, and I think this is a great feature, and this is almost a selling point for Amazon Prime just for itself. Forget about the music and the instant Prime video, and the great benefits to buying stuff on Amazon. That's why I say I don't know if this will last for free forever. Now, if you want to upload videos, that's going to cost you. You get 5 gigs of free storage with Amazon Prime for videos, and then you have to buy an annual amount. So I think I did $25 for 50 gigs, and I've uploaded all my videos. So that's super cool. I've used, by the way, I think 20 gigs of photo data so far. Maybe it's not quite that much. I don't know. It's a ton of data for photos. So I'm really liking this cloud drive from Amazon. Although, it does make me nervous when I do everything with Google or I do everything with Amazon that one day they're going to take over the world and then flip that switch and say, pay up and raise their prices. Because obviously, as we all know, Amazon really, really does, cut their prices to be, very small margins. And Google does that a lot too, right? And so we don't, I worry that I'll become too dependent on that, and then they'll flip the switch and charge more. Just like they did with Google Apps, for business. They've now, $5 a month per user, and now they're offering most of the services that you want at $10 a month, and the basic package at $5 a month, and they'll incrementally, I'm sure, kick that up. But, look, it works really well, and you'd spend a lot more with some other email provider to get those services, including the encryption. So, yeah, I really like this cloud drive so far. It's not going to be the only place I store photos. I back them up to hard drives, especially the stuff of my son. But at least I can move them mostly, for the most part, off of my phone. And I can set it so that it only uploads over Wi-Fi instead of just uploading over my data and eating my data all the time. I can have it only do it when I'm on a Wi-Fi network. I can have it auto-upload or not auto-upload. And, of course, now you've got to worry if people will have access someday or somehow to your photos. I did do a test. It does not crunch the photos down and make smaller files out of them. So, literally, that's the thing I would be worried about. If you take a 5 megabyte photo, that it actually gives you a 5 megabyte photo back. You can send the photos to anybody. You can share them. You can send them a link. And, of course, you can download them at any time back to your device or to a computer. So, I kind of like it. It's the cloud drive. It's a free app. And if you're a Prime member, it's a free service, unlimited photos. So check that out. Of course, you might want to check out Dropbox, but they do charge what I think is a lot of money for storage. And that's Dropbox, and they've got their new carousel out. Dropbox works well. A lot of people love it. And, of course, there's also Mylio, and there's a whole lot of other solutions out there as well. Pete, what do you make of all this? I mean, you don't take as many photos as I do, but what do you make of all this?
Yeah, no, the Amazon thing sounds really good. I got to check that out.
You're a big Amazon guy, though, right? You love Amazon. You've been a Prime guy for years, even before I did Prime.
It's where I buy all my things, man.
Yeah, it's just easier, right? It's just delivered to your house.
Yeah, especially with Prime, it'll come like in 2 days.
Right. I mean, it's just great, and so this seems like a good solution. And you've got a Droid, and it'll work well on that too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's Amazon. I mean, I don't know. It's great. I know a lot of people might not like it because maybe it's killing small businesses and everything, and that's a problem. But I mean, for a lot of things I can't find Amazon, I go to Amazon, and it's fantastic.
We gotta get you on a Rode mic. I think there's a lot of buzzing coming out of that mic because we have to jack it up all the way. Rode is the official mic of Be Terrific, yet we're not using I just noticed that we're not using a Rode mic for you. We got to get you on a Rode mic. We love the Rode mics, using the headset mics, which are awesome. We use we're going to be using their lavs too, and we've got the stick mics. I know we didn't want to set it up because we had crews going out with it to shoot stories and stuff, but I think we should set that up, and maybe we need another stick mic for you or something.
I agree.
Yeah, we definitely got to get that hooked up. You got to check out Rode mics, by the way. They're super awesome. Mitch is going to be on tomorrow. He's the one who introduced us to Rode. Did you know that?
I know. Mitch is the man.
He's the
Planet
Rode guy.
5D.
He is the man. Planet 5D's got a lot of exciting news. He just did a tech review today of this monopod that looks very interesting. We'll talk to him about that tomorrow and a whole lot more, of course. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to tell you a couple more gifts you can do as stocking stuffers that are awesome, reasonably priced, and are great for the holidays. We'll be back right after this on the Michael Artsis Show. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Michael Artsis Show. I'm Michael Artsis. Thanks so much for joining us. We have had a really fun show today. I really enjoyed Russ Howard III joining us. That conversation, I thought that was great. Thank you for your feedback at Be Terrific TV. We really appreciate that. And, of course, we're just enjoying doing this. So, keep the feedback coming. Keep watching. Keep enjoying. We talked yesterday about my holiday gift guide, and now I want to give you some stocking stuffers that I think are reasonably priced things that are really, really awesome and must-haves. So, this is for the tech people in your life and people in general. I'm going to start with one that is probably most important for everyone. And that product is called Poo-Pourri. Now, I'm sure at this point you've seen their video on YouTube. If not, Google Poo-Pourri. Just like I say it is how it's spelled. And it is a before-you-go spray that gets rid of the odor. It's really amazing how they do it. Basically, it creates a film on the level of water, the clean water, and when you go to the bathroom, it holds all the smell in. It actually works. I was very skeptical. I thought this was a gag gift, especially because of their commercial, which is a lot of fun and has been watched millions upon millions of times. Last time I saw it, 30 million times or something like that. Great, very clever commercial, but I thought it was a joke, to be honest with you, and a gag gift. And the reality is this works. And let me tell you something. I can light up a toilet like no other, that's for sure. And this has become a lifesaver and a staple in my house. My wife loves this product, and it's Jill approved and tested. And it works really well. And if it can mask my smell, it can mask anybody's smell. Unfortunately, we all have to go to the bathroom. So check out Poo-Pourri. Very reasonable. Put it in the stocking stuffer, and it's not only a gift for the person you're giving it to, it's a gift for you too. I carry this around in my bag now so that when I go to people's houses or I go to their offices, if I have to use the facilities, they won't notice that I've done some damage. And I also have it at home. It's small enough to travel with, and I think you can even get on a plane with it. Yeah, it's 2 fluid ounces. So totally awesome stuff, Poo-Pourri. I hope to have them on soon because it's a great story how they actually created the company, and we love telling great stories, and I think you guys would enjoy it. Certainly the behind the scenes of the commercial would be great as well. This is something I think everybody needs as well. I love this. This is the iSound multi-USB outlet. So, you go to a hotel or your relative's house, or maybe you're just, going from meeting to meeting, or whatever it is, and you're constantly taking that brick that powers your USB cable, that single brick, and you're taking it around and you're charging your phone, your USB Bluetooth headset, you're charging your tablet, all that stuff. Well, this one has 5 ports. So instead of bringing 8 bricks, you're going to bring just this. It's got a little flip out outlet thing on it, and it really works great. And if you want to do what I do is add a little extension cord, a little shorty extension cord, so that can go into the outlet, and you know, this doesn't have to sit on the wall and be a little bit more difficult. But these are all, there are 4 of them, and they're all the 2.1 amp. So they're all the highest amperage that you would have. So they'll charge an iPad, an iPhone, an Android tablet really fast. They're the highest amperage. It's what you want when you buy a cigarette lighter charger for your car, or you buy one of those bricks and you see them at the mall. You always have to look for the 2.1 versus just the 1 amp. So these are really, really great. I've tested them. I like them. And by the way, Staples has them for under $20. In fact, they're like under 15 the last time I saw. I got this one for under 15. Check it out. It's from iSound, and it is the 4-port USB. They also make some really great battery chargers as well, so that if you have to recharge your phone on the go and you can't get electrical power, you've got a battery brick. We've got one that's like 18,000 milliamps. It'll charge a phone like 4 or 5 times from zero. It's really phenomenal. They have some smaller ones as well, all reasonably priced. You can also look those up on the web as well. And this is what the box looks like. I'll show you a close-up shot of that. That is the box for this. And the chargers have from iSound, which is the worst name, I think, in the world for a product like this. This should be a speaker, but it's from iSound. And this has 4 ports. The ones that go into the the chargers have 5 ports. And then, of course, there are ones that you can leave on your desk or something that have cords coming from them and give you a little bit of length that you wouldn't necessarily want to carry around everywhere. So great gift there. The best screen cleaner, bar none, is this. It's Whoosh. It's now carried in the Apple Store, and it is phenomenal. I was given this as a sample at CE Week. I talked to the Whoosh people. I was like, yeah, whatever. My son Jack got some stuff on my glasses, some film. I could not get it off with any screen cleaner I used. Not the Zeiss stuff, not the stuff the glasses store gives me, not anything. I had this sitting in my bag forever. I'll show you how this comes. A nice Ziploc bag, by the way. Once you rip it open, it's got a nice Ziploc pouch. A little bit of screen cleaner and a great cloth. I couldn't get it off. I saw this staring at me in the bag. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. I like your packaging and all that stuff, but I think that the reality is this isn't going to work either. I'm very skeptical of everything. For a very positive guy, for Be Terrific, I'm a very skeptical guy. Hey, I'm a New Yorker. What do you want from me? Anyway, this stuff just works great. So I took it out of the bag. I figured give it a try, and it actually works. And here's your geek advice that comes with it. Clean your gadget screens as often as you charge them because it's good hygiene, which is true. They found that there's more bacteria on your phones than any other device, and you know, taking your phone to the bathroom is the worst thing ever. I guess that's why they're making waterproof phones now. But clean the screen, for God's sakes. Clean it regularly. Here's what you can do. You can use Whoosh. It's great stuff. I really like it. It comes like this. You get this nice little Ziploc bag is their packaging, so that when you're on the road, you can throw it in your bag. I've got one for my desk, one for my bag, and then one for, I've given to my wife. But it really is. I'm very impressed with this product. It is really good, very affordable too, and it works. I'm telling you, it got the film off. My son Jack got it put on my glasses. It got it off. And by the way, speaking of Jack, you all know what that film is like that your 18-month-old son might get on your glasses or something else or your screen, especially when he's eating and snotting and all that stuff. Speaking of Jack, Giacomo, 18 months old today. Happy 18-month birthday, Jack. A year and a half. I guess we stopped counting months now. Officially, you are now a year and a half old. So exciting. So awesome. Congratulations. You're amazing. I can't even remember or imagine what life was like without you, and I'm so glad you're in my life. I know that my wife Jill feels the same way. We love you, Jack, and you're the best. We'll see you later. A little choo-choo. Hey, Jack, what noise does this dinosaur make? Come on, Jack. What noise? I know he's watching at home, so I know all you guys can appreciate that too. Happy birthday, Jack. I really You know, I don't do the 6-month thing, but for the first 18 months, I think you got to. And so this is your 6-month birthday. You're at 18 months old. Congratulations. Happy birthday. It's very exciting. And this is a big point. Getting you here, obviously, we worry about you every moment, but getting you here is a big moment because I now feel like we can be a little rougher and have more fun, and it's just exciting. You're a boy. It's making it to this point is nerve-wracking. Not that it won't be past this point, but the first 18 months are very touch and go, I think, you know. Anyway, Pete, what do you think? 18 months, it's pretty impressive, right?
Yeah, that's fantastic. Jack's fantastic.
He's cool, right? He knows you. He recognizes you. That's what's cool.
Yeah, well, we play basketball.
How cool is that? It's a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, you know, this kid's gonna be a natural.
Ah, you're too kind. I think he's going to be a lefty, too, which you like. You totally endorse that.
Yes, I tell everybody who has a son or a daughter to make sure they're lefty so they can play baseball as a lefty specialist pitcher.
You know, I think that's good advice, and I don't care what Jack is as long as he's happy. He could be lefty, righty, whatever. Whatever works for him works for me. Happy birthday, Giacomo. I can't wait to see you in just a little while. All right. Happy 6-month birthday, I guess. Yes. All right, so that's the show for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed. Hit us up at BeTerrific.tv. Don't forget to download our app, app.beterrific.com, and that'll take you to the Android or iPhone or even Kindle app that is appropriate for your device. I'm Michael Artsis for Peter Poon and everyone at Be Terrific. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow. Be terrific.